Level 2 data. Level 2 data, also known as the order book. Level 2 data shows the real time bids and asks from market participants. They show more than the best bid ask you see in the level 1 quotes. It is the depth of the market. What it shows market makers, ECNs, who are placing orders. It shows the bid prices, what buyers are willing to pay. It shows ask prices, what sellers want. It shows the order sizes, number of shares at each price level. Why it's useful for traders. You can see supply and demand. You can identify support and resistance areas where large orders are stacked. You can gauge the liquidity, how easy you can enter and exit trades. You can spot momentum when bids and asks are being hit aggressively. Now, there are limitations. It can be manipulated, fake order, also known as spoofing. Now, spoofing is illegal, but it does happen. Does not show hitting orders or iceberg orders. Fast moving stocks can be harder for new traders to interpret. Okay, let's go ahead and get into a level 2. Now, if you look over here, this is the main chart. This is a 1 minute chart right here. If we look over to the right, you'll see that this area right up in here is a level 2. Right now I have INHD. I kind of picked a slow moving stock right now so we can kind of go over this so you can understand. Now, right here up top, I have last, the VWAP, volume weighted average price, the spread, the volume, the change, and the shares outstanding. This is just a header that I like to use on level 2. It just kind of gives me an overview of what's going on. Now, the level 2, right here, you see this line right here, right in the middle, it just splits it. Now, here on the left, you have the bid. These are the buyers. On the right, from right here over, are the ask. That's the sellers. Now, the first column we have are the exchanges. Right now we have ARCA, ADGX, NSDQ, BATS, things like that. That's for the bid. And you have the same thing for the ask. You have the exchanges. Now, in the middle, we have the price for the bid. And in the middle, we have the price for the ask. Now, we have the volume right here, the shares being traded. Now, the shares being traded, and this will confuse new people in the beginning. This does not mean 2 shares. That does not mean 1 share or 4 shares or 6. What that means, the convention that most brokers go off of with direct access brokers like Lightspeed and Cobra and all of them, this right here, when you see a number 4, that means 400 shares. That means 19 means 1,900 shares, 1,800 shares. That's what that means. It doesn't mean 18 or 19 shares. It goes off of 100 increments. So when you see 1, that's 100. When you see 12, that means 1,200. So the first column is the exchange. The second column is the price. And the third column is the volume. Right there, that 20, that was 20 times 100. So 9 times 100, that was 900 shares. So that's what that means. And then right over here, this is the ask. This is what people are selling. Now, this is color coded. And the reason that it's color coded, if you don't pay attention to the exchange or the volume anymore, look directly in the middle here and you'll see 475. But you'll see 4 of them. That's because we have the EDX, ARCA, NASDAQ, BATS, and MEMX at 475. Now it's at 474. There's only 2, ARCA and BATS. And then the red, as you can see, is 475. Then the red is 469. Well, that's the next bid. Well, it kind of switches back and forth. 478, 477. Did you see that? 80, then 79. And then 11. That's 475. It's able to help you train your eye to see the pricing. Okay, that's all that is. That's why I have it color coded. Most of them are like this. And that's the same way over on the ask side. The sellers, we have 473, 473, 478, 481, 490, 520. You know, it's color coded because right here 73, then red 74, yellow 78, yellow 81, red 78, green 74. It's able for you to be able to look at those numbers and understand, okay, where are the differences? And that's what you want to look at. That's what those colors mean. How I like to use the level 2, and this will be good for beginners. Let's find a good position that we can kind of take a look at. Oh, okay. Okay, so let's say right up in this area, we had a nice candle right here we were breaking out of. We have some volume picking up in here. Now, let's say we want to try to get a break of this consolidation area, and we're going to choose this candle. Let's say, and the high of that candle was at 415. So for a beginner, you know, and the next candle is right here, and you know you want to enter at 415. Now, most traders are going to be looking at the chart and be like, oh, okay, when it's 415, I'm just going to go ahead and jump in at 415, 416, and then ride it up to here and probably go to 440 and then take my profits. But as a beginner trader, what you really need to train yourself and be like, okay, I've got my entry of 415. Well, you want to come over here to the level 2. You want to check the spread first to make sure it's not too high. And you also want to start looking at the bid and the ask and start looking at, okay, are we moving up? Are we going from, let's say we wanted to jump in at 415. You want to come over here and look at the ask on the right. Are we moving up? Are the orders going from 413 to 414 to 15, and then all of a sudden it's 16? Or are they being stalled out? Like you want to try and enter at 415, but if it's 414 and there's a large order sitting in here, like 10,000, and it's not moving, it's not breaking the 415. It's sitting at 414 and it's not breaking. There's a large order, like 20,000 order. Then all of a sudden it goes down to 4,000 to 5,000 to 2,000 to 1,000. And then all of a sudden goes back up to a big order. Let's say it's 15,000. Then it's still sitting there at 414. You're trying to get a break of 415, sitting there at 414. And that big order right here on the right, and you see it keeps refreshing as it's dwindling down. You're thinking it's going to dwindle down, break, and then we start go from 414 to 15 to 16, but it's not. It's refreshing. That right there could be an iceberg order. That could be somebody sitting there just dumping shares. So that might be something that will concern you and be like, well, I don't know if I want to take this trade or not. Okay. Or you can look at the level 2 here and know that you want to get in at 415 and you're at 412 and you're looking at this and people are just slamming right into the ask, going from 412 to 13 to 14 to 15. Like all of a sudden it jumps from 412 and then it jumps to 415 and you go ahead and enter. Now you know you entered. Let's say you entered at 416. Now you know you entered. So you know your cost average. You have to look down and know what your cost basis is. Also, if you get in, let's say you get in at 415, let's say you want to stop out at 393. Well, you want to look at the level 2 and you know that you entered at 416 and you want to get out at 393. So you can look at the level 2. You don't need to look at the chart. You can look at the level 2 and start reading the orders that are coming in. Now, if we come down to, let's say, $4, and then all of a sudden right here on the bid, you see a large order, let's say at 410, a large order is sitting there like 30,000, and it's sitting there at 410, that could be support for you. So that's why it's important to understand the level 2, and you will get better at it as you trade and as you use it, you will get better at it. Now let's take a look at this area right here. Let's say you got in at 462, and then right here it's around 475. Well, the EMA, the exponential moving average, is sitting at 463. Okay. So you don't need to look at the chart. You can know and be like, okay, if it goes down to 463 or 465, right now you can just look at the chart and be like, okay, the EMA is 465. It's right here on the axis right here. It's 465. That's why I have it printed right there. It's 465 because I don't need to look at the charts. I can look at the EMA and be like, okay, if it breaks 465, I got to think about getting out. And that's why I want to look at the level 2 and be like, okay, 465. That's where I'm getting out. That maybe not get out, but that's where I want to look to see, hey, if we start coming down to 465, do I have any large orders that are sitting there for support? If I start trading at 465 and then all of a sudden I trade at 463 and I need to start thinking about getting out. These are the things how you want to start using the level 2. As a beginner trader, start using it for your entry. Just use it little by little. Don't try to consume all of this at once. Like you got 151 orders, but that's not really 150 orders. It's 150 times 10. So that was on 442. So kind of like if we scroll over, you'll see right here. Okay. So right now we're at 451 on the EMA. We need to break above that to even think about anything. But as a new trader, that is what you want to look at. You want to look at the level 2. Where am I entering on the trade? And then you know your entry point. So look at the level 2 and go off the entry. You know your stop before you enter a trade. You're going to know where your stop is. So there's really no need to look at the chart constantly. You can glance over at the chart. You need to glance over at the 5-minute. You need to glance over at the daily. Glance over at the 5-minute. Glance over at the 1-minute. But when you're in a trade, get in the habit of using the level 2 for like your entries. When you know you want to enter, let's say you want to enter on the break of this, a 481. Well, once we start getting up to like 475, you can start looking at the level 2 and you can see, hey, is there momentum going? Are we jumping up? Are we just slamming right through the asks and just eating those orders up? That's the kind of things that you need to look at and get used to. And once you enter a trade, you know where your stop's at. So you can look at the level 2 and be like, oh, okay, I'm getting near to my stop. I need to start thinking about dumping this. That's how you want to start using it as a beginner for your entries and for your exits. Then once you get used to doing that, then you can start adding in like, okay, is there support and resistance areas? Once we start getting up here, are we going to break 480? If you're in down here and we're running up and we're getting up to 480, okay, is there big orders sitting up there at 480? You're hoping we're getting the breakthrough to go up to 4.25, 4.5. But if there's a large order and it's just sitting there and it's not getting eaten through and moving up, then you can start thinking, okay, do I want to sell a quarter? Do I want to sell half? Or do I want to get completely out? These are the things that you need to start thinking about. And the only way that you can really do that is by looking at the level 2. That information is not going to be on the chart. That information is on the level 2, and that's why it's so important. We will go into more detail about the level 2 as we are trading, and when you see me doing live trading, I will be able to explain it and let you know what I'm looking for. That's all I have. Bye.